In either way, you don't need God because you already have morality, or God is arbitrary.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh and this is Save Skeptic, and today we're going to be looking at a clip of Christian speaker and author Frank Turek respond to an audience member on a classic philosophical question called the Euthyphro Dilemma. This question asks, is morality good because God commanded it, or did God command it because it's good independently of him? It's a really great question, and it dates back all the way to the ancient Greek philosophers. And on the surface, it might seem like a tough challenge, because the implications of the answer cut right to the heart of the sovereignty of God. If morals are good independently of God, then goodness exists as a standard outside of or above God. This diminishes God's sovereignty and ultimate authority, making him subject to an external moral standard. But if morals are good just because God says so, then perhaps morality is just arbitrary. Let's take a look.
I hate to end the night with this question.
That's all right.
My name's Jacob.
Hi, Jacob.
All right, so my question is about the Euthyphro Dilemma.
Yeah.
Are moral acts willed by God because they are good, or are they good because they are willed by God?
Excellent question. Euthyphro is a character in a dialogue that Plato wrote. And the character says, as you just said, is it good because God does it, right? Or does God do it because it's good? If God does it because it's good, he's looking up at a standard beyond him to say, oh, that's good, let me do that. Well, if that's the case, why do you need God for morality? You got the standard outside of him. And if God just makes stuff up, then God is arbitrary. Oh, he says is wrong now, but tomorrow he could say it's good, right? That's almost like what Muslims believe about Allah. And this is supposed to be a dilemma for the Christian. In either way, you don't need God because you already have morality, or God is arbitrary. Now, the problem for the skeptic is this is not a true dilemma. This is what we call a false dilemma. A true dilemma is A or non-A, right? A false dilemma is A or B. Well, maybe there's a C. Maybe there's a third option. And in this case, there is. God doesn't look at a standard beyond him and says, that's good, I need to do it. Because if he does that, he's really not God. That thing is God, okay? And God doesn't arbitrarily make up a standard. God is the standard. That's the third option. The buck has to stop somewhere, and it stops with God. So he's not looking beyond him. He's not inventing a moral standard. He is what we call justice, righteousness, and goodness. He is the standard.
What is the evidence? What is your evidence for that?
Well, the evidence that this standard exists. Is that the question?
Right, that he is good. Or that, because obviously he sets the standard of what is good.
Well, again, we're reasoning from effect to cause. Do we understand that babies for fun is really wrong?
Of course it is.
Okay, if it's really wrong, then there must be something really right. And what we say is that is what we mean by God's nature. Now, we get this without reading the Bible. We already know that there must be a standard out there. The question is, who is that standard? And we get more information by reading the Bible. It turns out that the Bible says that the same being that created the universe is the same being who is justice, who is righteousness, who is goodness. So you can argue from a philosophical perspective, from knowing that torturing babies for fun is wrong to this being, or you can look at the Bible, or both.
I absolutely love Turek's response here, because at its heart, the question is absurd. First, asking whether morality is good because God commanded it, or if God commanded it because it's good independently of him, misunderstands the nature of God and goodness. Goodness isn't external to God, nor is it arbitrary. It's actually a reflection of God's very essence. In Psalm chapter 119, verse 68, it tells us of God, you are good and what you do is good. But goodness is also good because it leads to human flourishing. What's crucial to understand, though, is that this flourishing, it doesn't happen independently of God. It happens because God designed the world and humanity in a way that, living by certain moral principles, it naturally aligns with his design and reflects his character. Jesus said, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. And this full life is experienced only when we live in harmony with God's moral framework. Again, in the Psalms, chapter 119, verse 105, it says, your word is a lamp to my feet, a light to my path. This shows that God's commands illuminate the path to true joy, peace, and harmony. So the question itself is flawed. Goodness is not arbitrary, nor is it independent of God. It is rooted in his unchanging nature and is designed for our flourishing. You guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, please like and subscribe. And in the meantime, take care and God bless.